Welcome to SRPG Plus, it's your guy Kappa Kai. I wanted to do a different type of video, kind of more of some gaming history about a very SRPG oriented topic, the Ivalice Alliance, and basically where is it? So essentially, Ivalice Alliance is a banner for several Square Enix and Squaresoft titles, starting with the inspiration for the whole channel. Final Fantasy Tactics, which was released June 20th of 1997. Unlike most Final Fantasy games, Ivalice Alliance projects, even before they had that official title, they were all set in the world of Ivalice. This is a unique kind of aspect to the franchise, which is always known for its non-linear settings. Like, look, for example, between Final Fantasy 7 to 9, it's like one's a steampunk world and one's kind of like still medieval with a few aspects of technology, so it's like everything's kind of different. But Ivalice Alliance, every single game that's a part of this banner essentially is in the world of Ivalice, which was really cool with the Final Fantasy setting. And a lot of these titles weren't officially even a part of the Alliance until they were essentially retconned in when it was formed. So basically, who and what is this, Yasumi Matsuno was the genius behind the medieval style inspired setting. Final Fantasy Tactics was Matsuno's first project with Square Enix. His world would span past the Final Fantasy universe into Vagrant Story as well, and this was also a part of the retconned Ivalice Alliance and what basically is an Ivalice Alliance game. And this happened around the release of the last Ivalice Alliance release, which was Final Fantasy XII. The Alliance got announced December 13th, 2006. Square informed fans that Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings, which was previously announced, that it would be coming with a whole slew of titles under the banner of Ivalice Alliance. These titles included the newest Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics A2, Grimoire of the Rift, and also the PSP remake of Final Fantasy Tactics, known as Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of Alliance, which is my favorite game of all time, hands down. Like the story, the setting, all the extra content with additional characters, like the main character from Final Fantasy Tactics A2, Grimoire of the Rift. He was in Final Fantasy Tactics, so War of the Alliance, so that was a really cool inclusion. So was Cloud as well. And basically I'm just kind of left with well, what now? We haven't seen any Ivalice Alliance games. It's like, could the next thing be a Final Fantasy Tactics A3 and Advance 3? I'd really be happy with that. We did just get I guess you could say the most recent release, which is Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, which is basically like a definitive edition which incorporates the Zodiac job system, which was only in the Japanese version, so it was kind of like region exclusive, but now it's worldwide. But we haven't actually seen a new game in years. The last game was 2000 and the actual an actual official release was 2007, and then the rest has kind of been spin-offs. I also wanted to go over kind of the timeline just to give you a setting of when these games took place. So in 1997, that's when the original Final Fantasy Tactics came out on the PlayStation. In the year 2000, also on the PlayStation, Vagrant Story, which is not a Final Fantasy game, but it is a part of this banner because in Final Fantasy XII, there were a few little Easter eggs and just kind of references to Vagrant Story, kind of confirming that they're both taking place in Ivalice. So then in 2003, on the Game Boy Advance, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which really was my first taste of a tactics game, because I played this before Fire Emblem, and yeah, it's just obviously not as good as Final Fantasy Tactics, but it's a very good mobile on-the-go version. And then after that, in 2006, to 2007 is pretty much when we got a rapid fire of releases and the last releases under the Ivalice Alliance. So 2006 had Final Fantasy XII launch, the 12th installment of Final Fantasy, and very good game. I got the Switch port that came out this year in April, and it's fantastic. I'm kind of sad that I didn't play this when I was younger on the PS2. Like, I played 10 back in the day, like in real time. But I watched my mom play it, and it was a really important game to her. So I kind of got a nice connection through that. The next game was Final Fantasy Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift. So the sequel to Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, but not like a direct sequel. It's kind of like the same world, kind of same setup, but not the same main character. And then Final Fantasy Tactics The War of the Lions. Whew. It's a remake for the on the PlayStation Portable, and it was fantastic. Fantastic. I think it's just as good as the original. I know some people had issues with like audio buzz and slowdowns, but like when I was playing this when I was grounded in like high school, a PSP sneaking it once again from my mom. Yeah, it was just really cool. Like, I was grounded, I couldn't have access to any electronics, but I was like hiding a PSP like in the corner of my bed, just like making sure she didn't even see the plug, but she did find it, and she was just like, okay, just keep playing it, you're still grounded. I'm like, oh, well, at least I can still play it. And I forgot to mention that Tactics A2 Grimoire of the Rift was on the DS, and War of the Lions is on the PSP, so both portable entries. And then Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings, which was, it's like an RTS game. I've never played it. It's on the DS. Kind of interested in it because it's like a full-fledged game. It kind of is using the characters that are in 12, which also appear in Tactics A2. So yeah, a very cool game, and I'd definitely check it out if I got my hands on it down the road. And then in 2008, I remember when I saw this and I was like, oh my god, an Ivalice Alliance game? Crystal Defenders, it's literally just a tower defense game using like the sprite work for Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, so that kind of sucks. And this is like a flash game, Dive to Hunt, The Adventures of Sorbet. I think that's a Moogle in one of the advanced games, and it's basically like a flash game in the style of Final Fantasy Tactics A2, like kind of using the same kind of UI and menus, but it's just a fishing game. So yeah, not really cool. Another Crystal Defenders game, Vanguard Storm. I don't even think I've ever played this one. Came out a year after in 2009. Yeah, another because the Crystal Defenders games are just like smartphone, iOS, Android games, and maybe PC. Nothing cool. And then the Final Fantasy Tactics S was a mobile game that came, I think it was only exclusive in Japan, and that came out in 2013, and it was a phone game. Pretty freaking stupid. I don't even know why they made it, but yeah, it's a social game for Android and iOS featuring playable races from the Tactics series, essentially. Yeah, and the whole battle system was different too, so it's kind of like, why'd you guys make this? And then the last release was, and this was for the PS4 version, Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age, which incorporates the Zodiac job system, which was in the original release only in Japan. And then in 2019, we got the Switch version of that. And I believe it also came to the Xbox One. Man, just looking through all these games, looking at the timeline for the Ivalice Alliance, these really define me as a gamer, and I really miss Final Fantasy Tactics games. They're right up there with me in Crystal Chronicles of how much nostalgia and everything I have with them. So I really wish that they bring it back. I really loved it, but it's your guy Kappa Kai, another edition of SRPG Plus. Signing out. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for listening to my rambling. Bye.